He'll correct us. So we are going into our next round here. So spawning in the right-hand side of the map on Antigua Shipyard, we have our green Zerg player, who is Ehksplosif, and his opponent, who we just saw win a nice back-and-forth PvT, is Vermillion, our pink Protoss. All right, so if you're just joining us, thank you so much. I am Pyronia, and my co-caster with me here is Phegan. We are with rhgaming.com. Looks like Vermillion just figured out the name as well. Yes, it is a clever name.
It is a very clever name.
Antigua Shipyard, awesome map. I love it. Very common to see Forge Fast expands on this map for Protoss, so we'll see if that's what happens this time around.
Yep.
And looks like got our little probie going out here to land that pylon, so I think that will be most likely what we will be seeing.
This is actually, I've said this before, this is my favorite map. It's got a fairly accessible third, so it just makes it easy to get kind of like 3-base versus 3-base games. I just really enjoy this map. I think it's very balanced. You can still spawn in one of 4 positions. I think in some of the GSL versions it might be cross-spawn only, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. The other nice thing that you can do as Protoss, you can really do a nice job of doing some creative wall ops where you can really easily block your ramp. So if you have the chance to see C-Calms play, he's definitely a higher Masters level player, Protoss. And so what he'll do is he'll have a pretty creative way of blocking things off. So he'll have some things here. Then he'll basically keep some pylons in the back here to block off behind his mineral line. And then he'll plant some sentries in his army in between his Nexus and his assimilators, which allows him to have a complete wall off, which is very nice.
That's very, very smart.
Yeah, it works out really well. Looks like we are going to be seeing a pool first here from our Zerg players, who's going to be playing it safe.
Pretty standard. I mean, in case the probe comes out, tries to block the expansion, he's going to just have a nice couple Zerglings to clear anything that gets dropped.
Yep, and there goes the Nexus for Vermillion. We'll see what he chooses to do as far as building defenses. You know, if Ehksplosif decides to go for a 1-base roach type thing, that can be pretty challenging to hold off as your Forge Fast expand.
Absolutely.
I believe it was, the MLG Championships with Naniwa. I think Naniwa tried to do that over and over
Every
again,
game
failed.
Against Leonok, he tried to do it.
Well, it worked one time, so he's like, I'll keep on doing it, even though it loses 4 times. But.
A lot of it is, he destroyed Nest-T with it, though, twice. Like, he beat Nest-T in the Global Championship on the first day, and then he beat Nest-T in the actual MLG tournament, both with Forge Fast expanding and into the Stargate build. So it's super powerful. You just have to be prepared for more aggressive builds, and I think Naniwa just wasn't prepared for those aggressive builds.
Well, and Leonok is the boy genius.
Yes, Leonok is a brilliant player, so I mean...
Alright, so it looks like Vermillion might have something specific up his sleeve here, since he did just drop his 2 assimilators at the same time.
Cannon in the mineral line, too.
Probes.
So he's going extra safe with that cannon in the mineral line.
I think that's not a bad idea. He hasn't seen the Roach Warren, but we do have a Roach Warren go down. I think he's probably, sort of expecting that would be the response.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty standard run-of-the-mill. Well, there's 2 responses you get. You get the Roach Aggression, or you get the Fast Third. So it looks like he is going to go with the Roach Aggression. I actually find the Fast Third really only seems to happen in the highest caliber of games. Like GSL,
well, you really have to have strong macro, and you really have to be willing to go for it. You can't go halvesies with it or anything like that. If you're going to commit, you've got to commit to full macro, and a lot of pressure, though, I think, too. But you just have to be really greedy and hope that your opponent is, which his opponent is being quite greedy. So rather than having any attacking units, he only has probes, and he's starting his upgrades prior to building his first unit.
He does have
just now getting his first sentry
his first sentry coming out. But that is so greedy. Any sort of Roach Aggression. I mean, granted, he could have thrown down a bunch more cannons, but any Roach Aggression would be able to do at least very good harassment, if not some solid damage to this.
Yeah, and we do have 7 roaches on the way, as well as 6 lings.
Second Forge and a Twilight Council. Very interesting. Are we going to see a similar build to the last game? Or just ported to Zerg, or what are we going to see? That's very, very interesting that he's got this fast of a Twilight in PvZ.
And it looks like we are building up for some aggression here from Ehksplosif. I'm quite worried for Vermillion here. He does have 1 sentry, but, you know, I don't think the 1 sentry is going to be able to block off enough for these cannons.
Yeah, he's going to have to throw down a couple more cannons if he wants to hold this against this, the roaches coming across the map. He does have a stalker out now, too. So that is
He's probably going to go out there and die. I think if I were this stalker, I would be a little bit worried and probably looking for a change of underwear.
Ehksplosif isn't droning at all right now, by the way. He is only producing Zerglings.
Yeah, and if we look at income here, so we've got 24 harvesters of 42, so the extreme greediness, I think, for Vermillion can really be his downfall, I believe, in this game. But this will be it. If he can hold this, he's going to be very, very ahead.
But if he can't,
skeptical.
It's going to hurt. He's actually already going for his +2 ground upgrades, which is nuts. We do have the stalker pop out.
No, those little probes are going to be harder to kill because armor.
The roaches are going to get that cannon, but he is losing a couple of them.
Well, the force field there actually sort of pinned him into the probe.
Yeah, he's only down to 4 roaches, but so many lings are coming in, and he's producing 20 more lings. So if he can get these cannons down, he is going to be able to do a ton of damage. That stalker is on the brink of death, but that hold position micro on the probes, it was excellent. Sentry does go down. And there goes the cannon.
He's really got a good job of holding with what little he has. Unfortunately, I think he just has so little. I just don't see how he can really come back from this. His probe count advantage is plummeting, so he's down to 34 probes.
So many lings streaming in.
Coming in.
Actually, he could get a run-by into the main with these lings. We do have the 2 cannons, but he does have speed, so he should be able to get by, and here he goes. He is going to go into the main now, where we have 5 gates warping in, but it's too little too late right now. We have tons of lings just streaming across the map. He's only down to 18 lings. Oh, he force-fielded the ramp, so the cannons kind of took a lot of damage there.
That's the last
force field.
Yeah, that's the last force field for a while.
Those 2 cannons are earning. Those 2 cannons are definitely earning their keep. Can we actually see kills on cannons? 23 kills on each cannon.
We are down to the same amount of workers, harvesters, basically. So, 30 to 25. So we're pretty close here as far as that goes.
And finally droning up is Ehksplosif. So he's finally going to start droning, but he is in an position. I mean, he lost a lot of workers. He threw down a whole bunch of gateways, which he can't use yet because he only has 150 minerals. And the Zerglings are still coming in trying to do as much damage as possible.
I do feel like this is a little bit of a tower defense, though, here with these 2 cannons.
And +3 armor.
Wave 3.
+3 armor has been started.
I don't know. Maybe he's just going to go mass probes. I mean, he's got to have a plan here, clearly, because something like this is a little bit wonky.
Well, he has the 6 gateways.
It's not your typical build.
He has the 6.
I mean, he has lived.
I think he was going to go DT, because he never got any upgrades from the Twilight Council. So I think he was going to go some Dark Templar harass, but unfortunately that Roach Ling aggression put that to a quick halt. So we have finally settled down. We do have the Overlord coming in to get as much intel as possible, and a whole bunch of warp-ins for Vermillion, so he is going to start producing units.
Alright, and so let's take a look at all of our numbers here as the dust has settled. So we've got 51 drones, so 44 probes, and we do have a 3rd on the way for Ehksplosif.
28 workers
units
killed.
Lost, 98 units lost to 34, and more minerals being lost for our Zerg player.
The big thing is the 28 workers that have been killed for the Protoss player.
But he was so high up on that, it seems like he was able to almost afford it in a very strange way.
Yeah, the Zerg is only 3 ahead right now, so they're pretty comparable, and Zerg wants to be further ahead anyways, so you could say they're pretty close to even at this point, if not the Protoss is slightly ahead. We do have a whole bunch of sentries, zealots, and 3 stalkers pushing out, trying to do some damage, and for units, all we have is 8 roaches and 7 lings. So this could get a little bit hairy for Ehksplosif if he doesn't throw down a bunch of units. 6 more roaches.
We have quite a few more roaches. Yeah, and I think there were a couple more that spawned. So there were quite a few roaches. But, you know, we also have 3-2 upgrades already, so 3-3 and shield.
And shield.
So, I mean, just from that standpoint, I mean, his upgrades are just crazy.
What a
intense,
weird build.
I don't think we have any upgrades. Yeah, we don't have any upgrades currently, and none in production for our Zerg player.
Yeah, that third base is dropping super fast. This is such a weird build, but it actually looks like it's going to work.
Well, I mean, if you can withstand it, then yeah, you're very far ahead. I don't know, it's pretty interesting. So we do have
he is interestingly enough
some
behind in
upgrades coming
supply.
down, but not what we need.
Have we even had
Hydralisks then, though, that's a good move. Hydralisks do great against gateway units, which is what we're seeing right now.
provided you have the roaches to tank for them.
Truth. But she has a good number of roaches. And it looks like we are seeing a transition into a Templar archive, so probably Storm again, but he did have charge, so it could be that he's going to go Templar charge lot again.
Mm-hmm.
Or Archon charge lot, sorry. And then we have our third restarting for our Zerg player.
If he goes Storm charge lot again, I'm not sure I like it against a Roach Hydra composition.
It does seem like a little bit of a strange choice to me, but
We do have the Ling running in, and he is going to see this third base. So for units currently, we have 31 Roaches. Wow. 12 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, 6 Sentries. So maybe it really is going to come down to how effective are those upgrades in engagements. Oh, Jesus, I'm a 10-year-old boy again. My voice is cracking. How effective the upgrades are going to be in these engagements, because that's the huge difference right now. There's a larger army for the Zerg, but a higher tech army for the Protoss.
Yeah, higher tech and high upgrades. So time will tell. Here we go.
And it looks like we are going to see an engagement very soon. That one Hydralisk is going to make the difference. Pretty good force fields, forcing a lot of those Roaches to not be attacking. But those Zealots are dying very quick, and those force fields actually hurt those Zealots a good amount too, because they couldn't get in on those.
Yeah.
Although right now those force fields are stopping the Stalkers from getting in and getting attacked. The Zerg is still up by about 30 supply. So it's going to take out this little proxy pylon.
But we also have a lot more Roaches on the way. So as far as unit composition, 20 Roaches, 11 Hydralisks versus not very much for our Protoss player. 12 Stalkers and 6 Sentries.
And Shields 2 is on the way. But no force fields, and it looks like this army is going to get beat up a good amount. They are going to get away because how slow those Hydras are, but the Roaches do have speed.
I'm a little bit surprised about this expansion. That's definitely going to have to get canceled.
I think he had a lot more map control than he really had.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if he thought that was the goal and didn't realize it, so he was going to be a little, aggressive with that.
Whole bunch more
he's
Roaches.
He's definitely been quite greedy, so...
Whole bunch more Roaches are streaming across the map, and +3 shields is now begun for the Protoss player. So he is going to be...
When he gets Archons, those are going to be some quite intense Archons.
Very beefy Archons. They're going to be 3,
I mean, he has the money for it.
And he's taking down his own rocks.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that move.
And we have another engagement here. The Roaches are getting in, trying to do as much damage, but we do have a blink back and a whole bunch more units warping in. He's going to try and come in and get the third, but the Protoss player just... Okay, the rocks didn't go down completely, but he figured he almost just made his own escape route for the Zerg. Pretty decent force fields, but trapping a couple of the Roaches, but he slowed himself down getting in, and that Nexus is going to fall... And there it goes, but it looks like the Zerg is going to lose the majority of his army.
Alright, so they both killed off the third, so they're down to the Zerg just being one base ahead again.
Yes.
Let's check in far as income goes.
His main is almost mined out, so he really isn't effectively mining out of that main. He needs to take a fourth base.
Well, Zerg needs to be transferring a lot of those drones. He's way oversaturated on those 2 little mineral patches and undersaturated over his third. And he's actually still behind on workers compared to the Protoss player.
Yeah,
and obviously behind on upgrades.
He's basically stopped droning and just producing units. And 6 more Hydras and 5 more Roaches all on the way. So he's looking to build a large contingency of units, but this highly upgraded Stalker force is going to be able to do so much damage so quickly. No force fields, though. So this could be a huge difference. But excellent Blink Micro from the Protoss player, just blinking back the Hurt Stalkers so that they can live to see another day, and those roaches are being melted so quickly. The Hydras are in the back doing a good amount of damage, but there's just not enough roaches to tank for them, and there's only 4 or 5 Hydras. More Hydras coming in, but it looks like Vermillion is going to be able to push through this, and there is the GG.